Wormwood shock. Astronomers just detected a new fragment. By the end of this video, you'll understand what astronomers just detected, why it has prophecy watchers paying attention, and what the Bible actually says about Wormwood. Here's what happened. On December 9th, 2025, astronomers using the Hubble Space Telescope confirmed something unusual. A fragment from outside our solar system, moving at over 100,000 miles per hour, estimated between 1,000 and 3,500 feet wide, and carrying exotic chemistry that includes traces of cyanide precursors. Now, hold on to that detail about the chemistry, because when we reach number 2, you'll understand why that specific discovery made prophecy watchers sit up and pay attention. Now, nearly 2,000 years ago, the Apostle John wrote about a star called Wormwood, a blazing object that would fall from heaven and poison the waters of the earth. Is this fragment Wormwood? Number. But could it be a sign that what John described is no longer science fiction? That's what we need to examine. Number 1, what astronomers just confirmed. Let's start with the facts, because what was detected on December 9th, 2025 is genuinely unusual. Let's start with the facts. Because what was detected on December 9th, 2025 is genuinely unusual. I want you to lock these specifications into your mind, because when we reach number 3 and examine John's ancient description, the parallels will be unmistakable. The detection. The Hubble Space Telescope identified a new fragment from what's called Comet 3 I/ATLAS. But this isn't an ordinary comet. The I in its designation stands for interstellar. This object didn't form in our solar system. It came from somewhere else entirely, from the void between stars, from outside our cosmic neighborhood, a wanderer from deep space. That origin point matters more than you might realize. Think about what that means. This fragment has been traveling through the emptiness of interstellar space. It didn't originate around our sun. This object comes from somewhere else entirely. Perhaps from another star system. Perhaps from the remnants of a solar system that no longer exists. Perhaps from regions of space we've never observed and may never observe. And now it's here, passing through our cosmic neighborhood like a stranger walking through your backyard. The Hubble confirmation. The detection came from the Hubble Space Telescope, arguably the most precise optical instrument humanity has ever aimed at the heavens. Hubble has been our eye on the universe since 1990. It photographed the pillars of creation. It measured the expansion rate of the cosmos. It captured light from galaxies billions of light years away. And on December 9th, 2025, it turned its attention to something much closer and much more unsettling. What Hubble confirmed was a fragment, not the parent comet itself, but a piece that had broken off. The fragment was traveling through the inner solar system, already past the point where early detection would have given us significant warning. We didn't see it coming until it was already here. The specifications. Here's what we know about the fragment. Size. Estimated between 1,000 and 3,500 feet wide. Let me help you visualize that. The Statue of Liberty, from base to torch, stands about 305 feet tall. This fragment is 3 to 11 times that height. It's roughly the size of a small mountain, something you could see from miles away if it were sitting on the horizon. Or think of it this way. A football field is 360 feet long, including end zones. This fragment spans 3 to 10 football fields. It's not a pebble. It's not a boulder. It's a flying mountain. Speed: over 100,000 miles per hour. That's approximately 28 miles per second. Let that register. In 1 second, this object travels 28 miles. In the time it takes you to blink, it's moved nearly 30 miles. At that velocity, it could cross the entire continental United States, from Los Angeles to New York, in about 2 minutes. Most commercial aircraft cruise at around 500 miles per hour. This fragment is traveling 200 times faster than a jet airliner. Origin: confirmed interstellar by the Minor Planet Center. This isn't a rock that's been quietly orbiting our sun for billions of years. This is a cosmic intruder, something that entered our solar system from the space between stars. The Minor Planet Center, which is the official body responsible for tracking and cataloging objects in our solar system, examined the trajectory and confirmed this object did not originate here. Its path, its velocity, its angle of approach, everything indicates it came from interstellar space. Let that speed sink in for a moment. 28 miles per second. Because when we examine planetary defense capabilities in number 4, you'll see why that velocity makes this category of object essentially unstoppable. The energy involved. To understand why these specifications matter, consider the energy involved. Speed is dangerous because of kinetic energy, the energy of motion. Kinetic energy increases with the square of velocity. That means if you double the speed, you quadruple the energy. If you triple the speed, you multiply the energy by 9. Interstellar objects travel at roughly 10 times the speed of typical near-Earth asteroids. That means they carry roughly 100 times the kinetic energy of a comparable local object. A 1-kilometer asteroid from our solar system would be devastating. A 1-kilometer interstellar object traveling at these velocities would be catastrophically worse. Not 10 times worse, but 100 times worse. This is physics, not speculation. And it's physics that directly relates to the destructive capability John described in Revelation 8. We'll explore exactly how this energy translates to impact effects in number 4. But for now, understand that interstellar velocities aren't just faster. They're in an entirely different category of destructive potential. Why this is unusual? We've only confirmed a handful of interstellar objects ever. 2017. Oumuamua, the first confirmed interstellar object. Its name is Hawaiian for scout or messenger from afar. It was discovered on October 19, 2017, and it baffled scientists immediately. Its shape was strange, elongated like a cigar or a pancake, depending on the model. Its acceleration was unusual. It sped up slightly as it left the solar system in ways that couldn't be fully explained by solar radiation pressure. Some scientists, including Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb, even suggested it might be artificial, a piece of alien technology. Most scientists rejected that hypothesis, but the point stands. Oumuamua was weird, and we had only weeks to study it before it disappeared forever. 2019, Comet 2 I/Borisov, the second confirmed interstellar object. Unlike Oumuamua, this one was clearly a comet. It had a visible coma and tail. It was discovered by amateur astronomer Gennady Borisov in Crimea. We had slightly more warning with this one, but it still passed through and vanished into the cosmic void. We'll never see it again. 2025, 3 I/ATLAS and its fragments. Now we have the third confirmed interstellar visitor. And this one is fragmenting, breaking apart as it passes through our system. 3 confirmed objects in the history of human observation. That's it. That's the complete census of interstellar visitors we've ever identified. 2,000 years, critics dismissed Wormwood as impossible. How could an object fall from heaven without warning? Keep that skepticism in mind, because number 6 will show you how these discoveries have silenced that objection permanently. The detection challenge. Here's something most people don't realize. This fragment was detected amid rising solar glare, meaning it was already moving through the inner solar system before we spotted it. It had already crossed the threshold into the area where impact risk becomes meaningful. We were late. Interstellar objects are notoriously difficult to detect. They don't announce themselves. They don't send advance notice. They don't orbit in predictable patterns we can model years in advance. They simply appear. And by the time we see them, they're often already passing through, or, in a worst-case scenario, already on final approach. Consider the challenge astronomers face. Space is vast, unimaginably vast. The distance from Earth to the Sun is about 93 million miles. The distance to the nearest star is about 25 trillion miles, almost 300,000 times farther. Objects coming from interstellar space are approaching from that incomprehensible distance, traveling through regions we simply cannot monitor. Our detection systems are designed for objects in our solar system, asteroids and comets that orbit the Sun, that return predictably, that we can catalog and track over decades. Interstellar objects play by different rules. They approach from random directions. They pass through once and never return. They give us no second chances. This detection gap carries terrifying implications. What we can't see. Here's what keeps astronomers up at night. We only detected Oumuamua after it had already passed its closest approach to the Sun. We were looking at its tail end as it departed. If Oumuamua had been on a collision course with Earth, we would have had essentially zero warning. It would have arrived before we knew it was coming. The same vulnerability applies to 3I/ATLAS and its fragments. Detection came amid solar glare, meaning the object was already deep in the inner solar system, already past many of our early warning opportunities. We're not scanning the entire sky constantly. We can't. The sky is too big, our resources too limited, and interstellar objects too faint until they're close. This isn't a criticism of astronomers. They're doing remarkable work with limited funding. This is simply reality. The universe is not designed for human convenience. Objects can approach from our blind spots. They can hide in solar glare. They can arrive from directions we're not watching. The physics of surprise is now documented science. Why December 2025 matters. The timing of this detection carries its own significance. We're living in an era of unprecedented astronomical capability. Hubble is still operational. The James Webb Space Telescope is revealing the universe in infrared wavelengths we've never seen before. Ground-based observatories are more sophisticated than ever. Our ability to detect faint, fast-moving objects has never been greater. And yet, we nearly missed this one. Think about what that means. At the peak of human astronomical capability, with the most advanced telescopes ever built, we detected an interstellar fragment only after it was already moving through the inner solar system. We saw it amid solar glare, not in the clear dark of distant space, where early detection would have been possible. If this fragment had been on an impact trajectory, our warning time would have been measured in days, not years, possibly hours, possibly nothing at all. This is the reality that makes John's vision in Revelation 8 so plausible. A star falling from heaven, striking with devastating suddenness. The mechanism exists. The vulnerability is real. And number 3 will show you how precisely John's ancient words describe what modern astronomy has now confirmed: the chemistry that shouldn't be there. Now, here's where it gets interesting for prophecy watchers. Because what scientists found inside this fragment raised some eyebrows. Exotic interstellar chemistry. When astronomers analyzed the composition of fragments from 3I/ATLAS, they discovered something unusual. Traces of cyanide precursors, compounds that, under certain conditions, are associated with toxicity. Now let me be very clear. No scientist is claiming this object will poison Earth's water. The fragment isn't on a collision course with our planet. And even if cometary material entered our atmosphere, the process of atmospheric entry would transform much of its chemistry. This isn't a doomsday scenario, but the symbolism is striking. Here's why prophecy students noticed. The Bible describes wormwood as making waters bitter. Revelation 8:11, KJV. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Bitter, toxic, deadly. And here we have an interstellar object carrying compounds associated with bitterness. Cyanide is literally one of the most bitter substances known to chemistry. Is this coincidence? Probably. But is it worth noting? Absolutely. What wormwood actually means. The Greek word translated wormwood is absinthos. It refers to a bitter plant, what we call wormwood or absinthe. In the ancient world, wormwood was associated with bitterness, poison, and judgment. When John named this star Wormwood, he was using a word his readers would immediately associate with something toxic and deadly. And now we're detecting interstellar objects with toxic chemical signatures. The physics and the prophecy are starting to rhyme. Number 3, what John actually saw in Revelation 8. Now, let's look carefully at what the Bible actually says about wormwood, because the details matter. The prophecy, Revelation 8:10-11, KJV. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters, because they were made bitter. Let's break this down piece by piece. A great star from heaven. John sees a star falling from heaven. Now, John wasn't using modern astronomical terminology. He was describing what he saw. In the ancient world, any bright object in the sky, whether a star, a comet, a meteor, or something else, could be called a star. John saw something bright, something heavenly, something falling, burning as it were a lamp. The object is described as burning like a lamp or blazing like a torch. This suggests brightness, it's visibly glowing. Heat, it's on fire or superheated. Motion, a lamp or torch implies directed movement. Possibly fragmentation. Torches flicker and break apart. This description fits what we'd expect from a comet or large meteor entering Earth's atmosphere. The friction of atmospheric entry causes intense heating. The object would glow brilliantly. It might fragment as it falls. John's description is remarkably consistent with what modern astronomy would predict. Fell upon the third part of the rivers. The object doesn't destroy everything. It affects 1/3 of the rivers and springs. This is selective impact, devastating, but not total. Enough to shock the world, limited enough to leave survivors. This 1/3 pattern appears throughout the trumpet judgments, consistent with God's measured wrath that we've discussed in other videos. Many men died. The result is mass death. Not from the impact itself, necessarily, but from drinking the poisoned water. The contamination is the killer. People die because the water they depend on has become toxic. Number 4, why interstellar objects change the conversation. Now, let me explain why this interstellar detection matters, even if it's not Wormwood itself. The old assumption. For most of human history, we assumed cosmic threats would come from within our solar system. Asteroids, comets with known orbits, objects we could track and predict. Our planetary defense strategies are built around this assumption. We monitor near-Earth objects. We calculate trajectories. We plan deflection missions years in advance. The new reality. But interstellar objects change everything. They don't orbit our sun. They don't follow predictable paths. They arrive from directions we're not watching. They move at speeds that make deflection nearly impossible. And they carry compositions we've never encountered. When Oumuamua passed through in 2017, scientists had only weeks to study it. By the time we confirmed what it was already leaving. Interstellar objects give us almost no warning. The prophetic implication. Here's why this matters for understanding Revelation. For centuries, skeptics mocked the idea of Wormwood. How could a star fall from heaven? How could it poison just some of the water? How could such an event happen without warning? Now we know. Interstellar objects exist. They enter our system unpredictably. They carry exotic, potentially toxic chemistry. They move too fast for conventional response. The physics of Wormwood is no longer fantasy. Now let's place Wormwood in its proper prophetic context. Because Wormwood doesn't appear in isolation. It's part of a sequence. The trumpet judgments. Wormwood is the third trumpet judgment. Let's look at the pattern. First trumpet, Revelation 8:7. Hail and fire mixed with blood. 1/3 of trees burned, all grass burned. Second trumpet, Revelation 8:8-9. Something like a burning mountain cast into the sea. 1/3 of the sea becomes blood. 1/3 of sea creatures die. 1/3 of ships destroyed. Third trumpet, Revelation 8:10-11. Wormwood. A star falls. 1/3 of fresh water poisoned. Many die. Fourth trumpet, Revelation 8:12. 1/3 of the sun, moon, and stars darkened. The escalation. Do you see the pattern? First, the land is struck. Then the sea. Then the fresh water. Then the sky itself. Each trumpet expands the scope of judgment, and each involves cosmic or heavenly phenomena. Fire from heaven, a burning mountain, a falling star, darkened celestial bodies. Wormwood isn't a random event. It's part of an escalating sequence of divine judgments that involve heavenly objects impacting Earth. The fragmentation theme. Notice something else. The second trumpet describes something like a great mountain burning with fire. The third trumpet describes a great star burning like a torch. Both involve burning objects falling to Earth. Both cause massive destruction. Both affect 1/3 of their targets. This suggests a pattern of fragmented burning objects impacting different parts of Earth's ecosystem. Land, sea, fresh water, sky, systematic, sequential, devastating. Number 6. Is this wormwood? The honest answer. Now, let me address the question directly. Is this interstellar fragment wormwood? The clear answer, no. Here's why we can say that with confidence. First, wormwood occurs during the trumpet judgments. The trumpet judgments happen after the seal judgments. The seal judgments include the rise of the Antichrist, global war, famine, death, and cosmic disturbances. We haven't seen those events yet. Second, wormwood occurs after the abomination of desolation. Jesus tied the Great Tribulation to the abomination of desolation. Matthew 24:15 to 21. That event hasn't occurred. Third, wormwood actually strikes Earth and poisons water. This fragment is not on a collision course with our planet. It's passing through our solar system. There's no impact predicted. So no, this is not the fulfillment of Revelation 8:10 to 11. But here's why it still matters. Even though this isn't wormwood, it matters for several reasons. It demonstrates that interstellar objects exist and can enter our system without warning. For centuries, people wondered how John's vision could happen. Now we know it's physically possible. It shows that exotic, potentially toxic chemistry exists in space. The bitter poisoning of water is scientifically plausible. It reveals how little warning we'd have. If an interstellar object were on a collision course, we might not know until it was too late. It confirms that blazing star language fits actual cosmic events. John's description isn't poetic exaggeration. It's what such an event would actually look like. The physics now exists. For centuries, people mocked wormwood as impossible. A star poisoning water? That's mythology, not reality. But now we've seen interstellar objects. We've detected toxic compounds in comets. We understand how atmospheric entry creates burning torch effects. We know how impact events can contaminate water supplies. The physics exists. The mechanism is understood. What once seemed impossible is now merely unprecedented. So why are we detecting these things now? Why are interstellar objects being confirmed in our generation? The convergence of technology and timing. Part of the answer is technological. We have better telescopes than ever before. Hubble, James Webb, ground-based arrays. We can see things previous generations couldn't detect. But here's the deeper question. Is it coincidence that these detection capabilities emerged at the same time that other prophetic signs are converging? Signs in the heavens. Jesus spoke about cosmic signs in the end times. Luke 21:25-26, KJV. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Signs in the sun, moon, and stars. The powers of heaven shaken. Men's hearts failing from fear of what's coming. We're living in an era of unprecedented space awareness. Solar activity is increasing. Asteroid detection programs are expanding. Governments are openly discussing planetary defense. And now interstellar objects are being confirmed. The heavens are becoming active in ways that demand attention. The Bible is clear. God governs the heavens. Job 38:31-33 KJV. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season? Or canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons? Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? God controls the stars. God directs the constellations. God sets the ordinances of heaven. If an interstellar object enters our solar system, it's not random chance. It's under divine sovereignty. Nothing happens in the cosmos without God's permission. Revelation and reality converging. God doesn't need new tools. He's been sovereign over the cosmos since creation. But He reveals truths when humanity is ready to understand them. Our generation can see things previous generations couldn't. We can detect interstellar objects. We can analyze their chemistry. We can calculate their trajectories. And as our vision expands, we're seeing that the biblical descriptions of cosmic judgment aren't fantasy. They're physics, they're chemistry, they're astronomy. Revelation and reality are converging. Number 8, why water is targeted. Now let's think about why Wormwood specifically targets water. Because this detail is significant. Water is life. Water is the most essential resource on Earth. Humans can survive weeks without food. We can only survive days without water. Every civilization in history has been built around water sources. Rivers, springs, wells. Control the water, and you control life itself. The strategic target. When wormwood poisons 1/3 of fresh water, it strikes at the foundation of human survival. Not the luxuries, not the conveniences, the absolute essentials. You can survive without electricity. You can survive without transportation. You cannot survive without water. By targeting fresh water, rivers and springs, Wormwood attacks humanity's most basic need. Judgment, not annihilation. But notice, it's 1/3, not all. 2/3 of fresh water remains drinkable. This is devastating, but survivable. Catastrophic, but not extinction level. This fits the pattern we see throughout the trumpet judgments. God measures His wrath. He limits destruction. He leaves room for repentance. Wormwood isn't meant to destroy humanity. It's meant to confront humanity, to shake human confidence, to force people to acknowledge their dependence on something greater than themselves. The spiritual dimension. There's also a spiritual dimension to water in Scripture. Jesus called Himself the living water. John 4:14, KJV. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. When physical water becomes poison, it's a reminder. The world's resources cannot satisfy. The world's systems cannot save. Only the living water of Christ can truly sustain life. Wormwood's judgment on physical water points to humanity's need for spiritual water. So, what should we do with all of this? Let me give you some practical guidance. Don't panic. First, don't panic. Fear is not the appropriate response to prophetic signs. Awareness is. 2 Timothy 1:7, KJV. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. God gives us a sound mind. Use it. Discern. Let signs point you to Christ, not to terror. Luke 21:28, KJV. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. When you see signs, look up, not down in despair, not around in fear. UP toward your redemption. Signs aren't meant to scare believers. They're meant to encourage us that God's plan is on schedule. Stay ready. Fourth, stay ready. Matthew 24:42. KJV. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. We don't know the timing. We don't know if Wormwood will happen in our lifetime. But we know we're called to watch, to be alert, to live ready. Whether Christ returns tomorrow or in 1,000 years, the call is the same. Be ready. But it demonstrates that what John described is physically possible. Interstellar objects exist. They can carry toxic compounds. They can arrive without warning. The conditions John wrote about are no longer science fiction. They're observable science, the bigger picture. Whether this fragment fades into the void of space or becomes a footnote in astronomical history, one thing is undeniable. The universe John described, where heavenly bodies can fall to Earth and poison the waters, is the universe we actually live in. The physics is real. The chemistry is real. The threat is real. And someday, according to Scripture, it will happen. The real question: Wormwood isn't frightening because it's cosmic. Asteroids and comets are just rocks and ice. Wormwood is significant because of what it represents. Divine judgment. God calling the world to account. The Creator demonstrating that He alone controls the heavens. The real question isn't, is this fragment wormwood? The real question is, are you ready if it ever is? The call. The signs are increasing. The convergence is accelerating. The stage is being set. And Jesus told us exactly how to respond. Revelation 16:15. KJV. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth, and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. Blessed is he that watches. Blessed is he that stays ready. Blessed is he that keeps his garments, stays faithful, stays pure, stays prepared. The star is not the point. The one who controls the stars, that's the point. And he's coming. Are you watching?
Many seem to be confused because they do not understand the book of Revelation. However, what if there was an animation showing the entire book? Well, we created that. And to watch that, click here.